Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast, starring
me,
Jerry,
and Gabi.
me.
So far this year, I'm
Go
gonna,
ahead.
I'm gonna get here's
Gourd head.
here's a rant.
Dad joke.
Here's a rant for you. All right. So I was at the Capitol here recently. I did not
have
No. I went to the Lincoln Monument.
China.
The Lincoln Monument.
Okay.
The Lincoln Memorial.
Oh.
It's really big.
Like a monument.
It's pretty big.
It's really big.
Look,
Pretty big.
you're going to have to stop doing all
You
your...
know who I am?
I know who you are.
Jerry Baker. Do you know who I am?
Stop. Just stop. Look,
King of improv. Bah!
Gabi thinks that he can do impersonations, and for some reason, he thinks
That's not true.
he does his impersonations of presidents, which are
Gonna be
not.
huge.
It's not funny, and it's not even. It's not
In this
funny.
moment right now, it's funny to me.
It's not funny. You're not good at it.
It's funny to me.
I wish you'd stop doing it because people are laughing because it's not that you sound like these people. It's just that you're doing it.
If I can make one person laugh.
The Lincoln Monument is huge.
Of course. Was it an ape or was it actually Lincoln?
It was Lincoln. I went.
Okay, that's good to
Mark
know.
Wahlberg was not
good to
there. But what they didn't say is that off to the right or to the north of the Lincoln Monument, in the same building, they have on the wall one of his speeches, not the Gettysburg or anything of that nature, but just
Right.
one of the
Not Fourscore.
not that one.
He made more speeches than just Fourscore.
Yes, and it was really good. It was just fascinating to see how people.
So what did it say?
I can't
What was
remember.
the gist of it?
It was just the gist of that they were fighting a civil war, and it was really rough. And we're going to get through it. It was the biggest. Hey guys, it's all right.
Guys.
But he used fancy words, and it was just.
Have you ever, I know you have. Okay.
I just like fancy
I tried
words.
leading.
I like fancy words.
I tried reading Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, that's rough.
The language in it is. They used such big words back then. Like they were very literate.
Yes.
And
Not
for
like
us to
today.
read from the age of texting, OMG, LOL,
Soup basics.
Soup's base.
Yeah.
For me to read Charlotte Bronte or Emily Bronte or whichever Bronte wrote,
Emily.
Wuthering Heights, I tried reading it, and it's very difficult to get through.
2 books that I got in on vacation.
Gourd head.
Arthur Conan Doyle's
The Sherlock Rider.
yes, The Hound of Baskerville.
Is it hound or is hounds?
It's The Hound of Baskerville.
the hound, a singular,
just singular
hound, one
hound.
dog.
That is really liked it.
Hound.
I started that book several times, never got to finish it.
Okay.
Knocked it out.
Gotcha.
Great. Love
Really?
that book.
I have never read a Sherlock book.
I've got them all. I think I have them all. I think I'm pretty
They're
much have
leather
them.
bound,
No, they're cheap. I found them in a garage sale.
mahogany.
No, they're not mahogany.
Oh.
They're rich pleather. But yeah, they're good. We're going to talk about
Zolkin?
Cryptid, The Mine, and Zolkin.
We're going to discuss all three. Now, those 3 big subjects. We can make this.
Well, let's at least talk about Cryptid.
Let's talk about the mind first, since it's the smallest. We need to make the cryptid.
No,
A feature presentation.
The Mind was a Spiel des Jahres nominee, if I'm not mistaken. The Mind, if you're not familiar with it, is a card game with 1 to 99 in cards.
1 to 100.
Is it 100? I didn't know if it was 100.
Yes.
Okay. These cards are shuffled out and
So
dealt
they say.
through levels. So you begin level 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to a particular level, and those number of cards are dealt to the players, 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the level. You are then not to say anything or give anything away to the other players, but one of you is to play a card out into the middle, face up, and hopefully then the next person, somebody at the table, will play the card
Ascending order.
in ascending order next. If somebody plays a card, if for instance they play 46 and you're holding 45 in your hand, you're supposed to show it and the team lose a life. It is a cooperative game. And it's basically this weird social experiment on trying to understand what people think in connection with how their hand actually is. Like in our game, let me back up. I enjoyed the mind. It's not great. It's not a Spiel des Jahres winner.
It's an activity, as you like to say.
But it was an activity. I enjoyed it. I had fun playing the mind. Because in my mind,
Board Game Snobs, it's fun.
It's fun. But it's not a Spiel des Jahres. It's not.
Lord, no.
A couple years from now, we're all going to forget about the mind. We're all going to lose our mind.
It is to be around.
So the game,
because it's a party game. Party games tend to stick around longer than other games. This is the deal. In the mind, literally the first round, first game, first play, nobody knows what's going on. I cheated.
you did.
I cheated, and I said, look, this is how we're going to play the mind. Because if we just deal out 3 cards, because the first level, you get 1 card. Second level, 2 cards. 3 level, 3 cards. That's the way it goes.
The 4th level, 4 cards.
Yes, that's the way it goes.
Continue on.
So, first level. If you have 55, I have 56, you have 57. Somehow or another, we got to figure out who goes first out of those 3 very minute differences. Otherwise, it could be you have 1, I have 50, you have 99.
But
how are we going to figure that out?
Here's where the tension comes from. That is where the tension comes from.
Gotcha.
Because in my mind, being a very mathematical, logical person, there's 100 cards.
Right.
If you deal me 1 card and my card is 25, I'm pretty sure I need to put down first. Because mathematically in my mind,
okay,
you two guys, you've got something higher. You've got something higher. What was very interesting is that when we played this game, I'm sitting across from somebody, your new best friend Mike.
Mike, I like Mike,
who is holding a 50 something and thinks it's okay. He's good to put it down. He's good to play a 56, and he's not hesitant to do so. And that's like a weird feeling to go, well, you're above 50%. The percentiles are not hard to figure out. Why are you quick to lay that down? That's what the mind is all about. It's not really a game. It is an activity, but there is tension to it.
But isn't every game an activity?
No, not every game is an activity. Here's an activity.
Is Mafia a game or an activity?
It's a social experiment.
Okay, well, there you go.
The mind is a social experiment / activity. An activity to me is a puzzle. We're just doing something to kill time. The mind is not so much killing time as it is coming to an understanding of non-verbally giving people the impression. They look at your face and go, he is very serious. He can't play a card this time. Which means if Jerry is looking stressed, all the cards in his hand must be at least above a 60. And you coming to understand that. And me knowing that Mike thinks that 50 is okay to play. And me understanding that you will hold an 8 and not play it because you're sitting here panic thinking I might have a 5.
Timing. Okay.
And so that is it lets you learn about the people at the table.
Let me interrupt you.
Go ahead.
The mind is a timing game. And
yes.
This is how I taught it.
That's
and
how you did.
This is cheating. But this is how I taught it.
You've cheated twice.
I said, if you're 1 to 33, when we lead that out, especially if it's a 4-player game, but I cheated up to 6 players because it's a stupid game that does not necessarily have to be restricted to a certain amount of players.
I guess.
In a 4-player game, it's like you're supposed to go to this amount. In a 6-player game, I just subtracted the lives. So in a 4-player game, I say, if you're 1 to 33, you should count in your brain a certain amount of seconds. If you're 33 to 66, you should count in your brain. If you're 67 to 99, you should count. So if you have a card within that amount, you should count seconds. Okay, then we bumped it up to 6 players. I played a 6-player game of the mind. It's not in the rules. I made it up.
You just did your own thing.
I did my own thing.
You made it up in your mind.
The rules, it's like, if you're 1 to 4 players, you should have 3 lives.
No.
But I made 6 players, so I made 5 or 6 lives. I can't even remember. And it worked. You just subtract. It's very simple, the metrics it goes by. So I said, okay, look, guys. It's simply a game of counting. 1 1,000. 2 1,000. 3 1,000. If you're within 1 1,000, you better freaking play that 1 to 20.
So you just cheated.
Yes.
But I think that...
But that's still but it still provides difficulty, because if you're going... but I'm not counting out loud. It's in our brains. And I said, if you're 0 to 20,
it's
you
in
better
your
play
mind.
something.
Here's what
Play it.
I like about
Then
the
you
mind.
play your 20.
Here's what I liked about the mind. The designer himself came out and said that the rules were different from the European rules and the American rules. The European rules where you couldn't even say anything, you couldn't do anything that may signal anybody.
European rules were very
Strict.
European.
The Americans was you could do anything. Wiggle your ears to indicate that you have a card above 50. You could do anything that was nonverbal to indicate what your cards were.
So, like, if you have the number 99, you could lean back in your chair, put your card down, and say, I'm out for...
Just sit there.
Right.
But I find it fascinating that the game that has such broad rules, like I said,
I shouldn't have cleared my throat just then.
it's a social experiment. To what extent will you go to make this game that is seemingly in your mind impossible to win easier? And we've learned from Gabi that Gabi will basically make his own rules, add to players. And whereas myself, what is in the rules, I will not deviate from. I very rarely house rule something unless I think it truly affects the game in such a way that adds something to the game. If the mind says don't speak, don't talk, don't do anything, I'm not going to do it. That's just my mind on the subject. And so I think that, again, the mind, I've avoided playing it. I didn't want to buy it. I didn't like it. Gabi bought it.
I got it.
I enjoyed
Jerry
it.
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I will play it again and be stupid.
Hey, you guess who we play with?
Mike.
I like Mike.
Let me say something about Mike. The reason you like Mike is because when you look over at him, you see the same
Brother.
rotund, bald individual.
Oh, dude, that's terrible.
But I will say something about Mike. Mike's very intelligent.
He gets it.
The mind should not have been nominated for this build as Yares. It is an interesting activity. It's if you're looking for a filler game, it's fine, but it just wasn't. I enjoyed it more than what I thought I would.
I prefer it to like something like No Thanks, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
And I'm going to be honest.
I think I prefer it even over No Thanks or For Sale. And I like For Sale.
Snap.
I like it, but because it lets you understand people's...
The mind are welcome too.
Oh, welcome too.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm glad I brought this up. I'm glad I brought this up.
Well, I'm glad you did too.
This is what they do in the fantasy football games.
All right, fantasy football.
They bring up
now that's
things.
where
and
you
they bring
fantasize about which players would be on your team.
They bring up a person, a wide receiver, and then they rank them according to what you would prefer or not prefer.
I like Baker Mayfield because
oh my god,
he's from Oklahoma.
A rookie from Cleveland.
He's from Oklahoma.
And he's playing for Cleveland.
Yep. And
the Cleveland Browns. You're going to root for the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Okay.
I am because
The
he's from Oklahoma.
I got it. Okay, forget Baker Mayfield.
I have not watched a football
The
game
mind
since 2008.
or welcome to. You've said
welcome to.
The mind or Jaipur.
Well, they're two different things because one's 2-player, and it's only 2-player. But I like Jaipur more than I do the mind.
Okay. The mind or Hanamakoji.
Hanamakoji.
Okay, so you like those 2 players? Okay, so let's take a game. The mind or poker. Would you rather play
Texas? You're talking
Texas
to. You're
draw?
talking to a no Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em.
You're talking to an old Texas Hold'em player, which I just played a Texas Hold'em game here
Would you
the
rather
other
play
night.
the mind or Texas Hold'em?
I'm a Texas Hold'em player. I'll always play Texas Hold'em over a dry.
So you like the mind?
I like the mind.
Very low on your list.
But it's low on my list. It's something that I would play with non-gamers.
wait.
Non-gamers.
Okay, I got you.
Non-gamers.
I got you.
5 non-gamers.
I got
Give me the
you.
mind. 4 non-gamers.
The mind or savvy.
The mine. Port Royal.
Okay, so let's go to Port Royal. We have
Steve
played
Jackson
it.
Games.
We have not discussed it.
Is it
Steve Jackson
Alexander
Games.
Pfister who made it?
Yes, it is.
This is all
Push
the
your luck.
cards. All the cards are mixed in together, not multi-use. But the cards are push your luck. I don't like push your luck games. Full disclosure. I enjoyed Port Royal mainly because you flip out a card, and then how many cards are you going to flip out until there's 2 British pirates out there, and then your turn ends? Or are you going to take the money off the first ship? Or are you going to purchase this character? It's very basic. It took Gabi literally 10 seconds to explain the game. And it was.
And I'm not good at explanations.
He's not good at explaining
But
games.
Jerry got it.
I got it. I think I won. And I enjoyed it. I firmly enjoyed playing this stupid push your luck game. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of my favorite push your luck games. Now, am I clamoring to play Port Royal?
You did beat me.
Yes, I did.
13-11.
And you just played a 12, don't you?
Huh?
I think you just played a 12. I exceeded.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't like push your luck games. I did enjoy this one. I'm not clamoring to play it again. But if you're looking for a light game, Port Royal. Now let's move on to what I think is Gabi.
What?
To have your attention.
We discussed the Mind and Port Royal.
This is the one game.
So this is a hot game.
This is a hot game that's coming out.
What are we going to talk about?
This is by one of our favorite publishers.
Z-Man.
No.
Asmodee.
No.
Fantasy Flight.
I hate you. Osprey Games, OG.
Osprey! Yes! I love Osprey.
Cryptid.
What did they make? King is Dead.
Cryptid. They make King is Dead.
Lost Expedition.
Cryptid.
Cryptid.
The newest game that came out.
Never
Cryptid.
heard of it.
By designers that we don't know. That I purchased.
got it right here.
That we purchased on a whim. Who are the designers?
It was not purchased on a whim. I told you to buy this. A game by Hal Duncan and Ruth Vevers?
I wonder if they know Herman.
I know Herman. Herman Catan.
Cryptid.
Illustrated by Kwanchai Mariah.
Are you ready for this, Gabi?
Go ahead. This is our discussion of Cryptid by Osprey Games. Go ahead, Jerry.
It might be the best game of 2018. It's in the running. Wow.
I didn't expect you to say that.
Here's why. Cryptid. Let me explain what Cryptid is about. Gabi goes on about stuff all the time, and he just rambles and rambles. But Gabi, I appreciate, and I truly do appreciate that he looks at games that I miss. There are certain types of games that I don't like. I don't like hidden movement games. I don't like games that are
that was for Whitechapel. Basic.
They're just
You
certain types of
consider
games that I
them
don't
basic.
like. And so Osprey Games, OG
Jerry thinks
games,
you like super hard games.
OG games have made a lot of games that we
True.
like.
Osprey
Cryptid
games.
had been released.
Question.
I've heard nothing about it. I heard nobody clamor.
You heard nothing about Cryptid?
Never. There's that. This.
You know what?
Why? You know why?
Because you're not on Instagram.
I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not
Thanks
on
to
LinkedIn.
me, I'm on Instagram.
I don't care. Cryptid come
Well, you
out.
should.
I bought it. I bought it as I need another.
A blind favor.
A blind favor of I need more. I need another game so I can qualify for free shipping from coolstuff.com.
Right.
So I did it. Next thing
I have been talking about Cryptid. Jerry's like, I ain't heard nothing about it, but whatever.
I don't care. I go on vacation. Gabi plays it, and Gabi's raving about it. And so I get home. Gabi says, "Let's play Cryptid. Let's play Cryptid." And it just leveled me. Like it mentally. As soon as I looked at it and the pieces, the simple pieces, the simple artwork, the simple everything.
Very simple.
I looked out there and realized that this was. If I had this game when I was 10 years old, I would have sat around and played this game every day.
Every day, all day.
All day. So what Cryptid is a modular board with 6 different pieces. These pieces are, when you select a card that tells you how to set up the board, you set the board up this particular way, so it's randomized. And then there's these...
It's randomized, but you are told how to set up the board.
Yes, it's very specific. And then after the board is pieced together, it tells you where to put these various markers on the boards, like this little triangular shed or this large-looking mountain piece. And there's different colors of them, white, blue, and green, I believe. And you set them out on specific points on the board. So you've built this little map with landmarks on it. And then everybody gets their own little clue booklet. And what you're doing, you're looking for this cryptid monster. And you're trying to locate basically the Loch Ness monster.
Basically, like cryptozoic means basically anything like the Yeti, the Loch Ness monster, the boogeyman.
The thing that blocks the
It's anything
the
that's
river.
not like real.
We'll let Kimberly. No, wait a minute. What do you mean not real? You don't believe in Bigfoot?
Have you seen Bigfoot? Have you captured Bigfoot?
Have you seen Uranus? Have you seen Pluto? Are those real?
Through the telescope, yes.
You haven't seen Uranus through the telescope.
I've seen my anus.
It's Uranus. It's not it's not pronounced Uranus.
Oh.
It's Uranus.
Well, whatever. I've seen it.
You've not seen it.
I have seen it.
Where?
In the telescope.
You don't have a telescope.
I do too.
You don't have
I had a friend that used to have a telescope.
I'm not talking to you.
And I've seen the moon craters. I've seen Lake Placid.
You've seen Lake Placid?
The Tranquility.
Oh, yeah, the Sea of Tranquility. I'm very proud of you.
Lake Placid, Sea of Tranquility.
I'm very proud of you. One has a big alligator in it. The other is where they
Same
landed at the
thing.
Apollo 11.
Same
That's
thing.
great. You're
Yes.
good. I'm proud of you.
Go.
Cryptid. So you're looking for this cryptid monster.
You're looking for Uranus.
And so what happens is that the first game I played was with 3 players. And so each player has a piece of information of where this monster is located. So my piece of information might be he's either in the swamp or the desert. The other player's information might be that he's within so many hexes from this particular color monument, like the White Mountain or the White Shed. And the other player's piece of information might be that the monster is within this certain area, territory that's on the map. And so basically on your turn, you can do one of two things. You can ask a player, any player on the table, is this where the monster's at? And they either put out a cube, meaning no, or a round cylinder, meaning that it's a yes, it's a positive. And through that way, you deduce where this monster might be. The second option that you can take is to search, which is mean you are convinced that the cryptid is in this area. So you put your guy there, and it has to. And so naturally, if you're convinced that it's in this area, you know that it must be positive from the information that you have. So I'm going to put it, if my information was that he is in a forest or a swamp, I put it out in a forest and say, I'm searching here. I think he's in the forest. Is that correct, Gabi? And then you either put out a yes or a no, and then around the table. If they're all yeses, then I have found the cryptid and I've won. So it's a game of deduction. There are variants in it to where instead of giving affirmative information that says where the cryptid is at, it tells you where it is not at. Like he is not in the swamp, or he's not within so many spaces of this tower or mountain or shed or whatever it might be, the little landmarks on the map. So the game is about, it's like a hidden movement game, but there's no hidden movement. It's you're looking for one spot specifically on the map. Everybody has a piece of information that you need, and you're trying to figure it out from their moves and their questions where it's at.
There's only one spot.
There's only one spot.
Could possibly be.
It can possibly be. It made my synapses fire. Like the first game, I didn't understand what was going on, and literally you explained it by saying,
I explained it very well.
You said, all right, it's going to take a few turns, but then you'll understand what's going on. And instantly, we figured it out. It's like, okay, we're just trying to guess. It's like good old-fashioned Clue.
Yep.
Like, is it Colonel Mustard with a knife in the library? Well, no, you're looking for the cryptid in the swamp that's 3 spaces from the mountain.
Exactly.
But you're not. You're asking these questions. It is a. It took me back. There was a lot of nostalgia. I remember being like 13 years old and going over to a friend's house, and they had Clue, and I'd never played Clue. I'd played Risk, I played checkers, I played poker. I'd never played a lot.
I played Clue maybe 2 times.
I played Clue, and it just blew my mind. So like, wait a minute. So I know this piece of information, and I'm going here, and you're asking. And Clue is such a stupid game in terms of its design, but it's that I have something that you need to know about, and you're trying to figure this out. And so you're deducing this. And so this was a modern board gamer's clue. This is better than Clue. This is better than Mystery of the Abbey. This is the best deduction, one of the best deduction games I've ever played.
Because it is pure deduction.
It is pure deduction.
This is something I don't like.
Go ahead.
Not about the game, but about people that have played the game. They have made these papers where that you can put down all the players and you can put down all the spots they have or have not been.
On BGG.
On BGG.
Yes.
You can download them PDFs. I downloaded them thinking, oh, okay, they say this is going to help. This is going to help. Yeah, they help because if you were to have all 4 players or 3 or 2 or however many you play, I think minimum is 3.
Yes.
We had 4. If you to write their names down, and then write down all the clues, it is basically a process of elimination.
Right.
It is a process of elimination.
It is a process of elimination.
But if you have it on paper, then I just put, check mark here, check mark here, check mark. Okay, so this marks off all this, so it has to be here. There's no fun in that.
There's no fun in it. No, because you end up taking away the game.
Do not use the papers.
Don't use the paper, and that's like I said. That's something that people made up on BGG, trying to be helpful. To me, looking out at the board and being able to crunch those numbers is the game.
Yes.
Being able to look out and go, all right, every time I search around this mountain, this little landmark, Gombi says yes. But when I search a little bit further out, he says no. So I have to think, okay, so it must be within 2 or 3 spaces from this landmark. I know it has to be in a forest or a swamp. So this is the forest and the swamp that's closest to the landmark. But when I searched there last time, Mike said this was a no. So it must be in this territory. So it must be this forest. So it has to be here. It has to be here. It has to be here. So this is where it must be. But what is the tension that the game gives you comes from you will search in an area and you'll be wrong. And then you'll piece that together and realize you know exactly where the cryptid is at. But it's not your turn. It's Gombi's turn. And then it's Mike's turn. And you have to sit there and wait for it to lap around the board around the table until it gets back to your turn. And you're sitting there just about to jump out of your skin because you know where it's at.
Yes.
But they might get it. The information that you need is always on the board. It's up to you to look and to interpret it and to see it, and every player can do it, and that is why I like it, and that is why it is. I want to play it right now. I like it that much.
So there's 2 things you could do on your turn.
It's in my collection.
You can search, in which place, if you search, you're saying, according to my rules, it could... It is here if you're playing the basic. We're not going to discuss the advanced. According to my rules, it could be here. I'm searching. So then you simply go in a clockwise fashion. Could it be here according to you? Okay, if he says yes, could it be here according to you? Okay, if he says yes, you have one more person. If it's there according to them, you've won the game. Or you can simply go into any random spot and say, according to your rules, could the cryptid be here? Jerry would say yes or no. If he answers with a yes, game's over. You simply know that, yes, according to his rules, it could be there. Now, does that match my yes? Okay, well, then you can go from there and go on. But if he says no, well, then you know not to search in a mountain or a space next to a bear or cougar, which if you read the game, you'll see what that is, or a space within a certain amount of spaces of the monument, or blah, blah, blah. There's many variables to the game. One game, the last game we played, I had a space that was within, we played with the advanced variant, and it said not within so many spaces of a monument. So I knew it was this space of the monument. Instead of searching for yeses, I didn't search, I inquired as to Jerry. I said, according to your rules, could it be here? Unbeknownst to Jerry, it was yes on my end. But Jerry also put a yes. So then I was like, oh, so me and Jerry have the same yes. Well, Mike, being as quick as he is to pick up these games.
We love Mike. Him and his baldness. And his roundness.
He put it
and
together.
His intelligence. Literally, Gombi guessed the position of the cryptid
on the first
move. But
But I didn't play the proper move.
It didn't play the proper move.
So Mike guessed it on the second turn of the entire
The game lasted 10 seconds. Literally 10 seconds.
We set up the board, we set up the positions, and then Mike guessed it.
It was a 10-second game. That was the quickest board game I've ever played. But
that learned me not to go necessarily yeses on my end, questioning you.
That's right. Cryptid to me is one of those games that does well. It brings in the inclusiveness of the board gaming community. This is a game that is just as good if you're a heavy board gamer or if you're playing with new people. It is fast. It's quick. It can be a filler game. It could be something that people enjoy just as a whole, just in introducing new players. I love it. I love it. It is in my collection. I love it. I love OG games. They have put out another winner. I do not know these designers, but I will be looking for them now in the future. It is very minimalist in
Duncan Ruth Vevers.
Very minimalist in the artwork. And
Illustrated by Kwanchai Moriah.
But yet the illustrations and the art are still particularly good. Yeah, it's good.
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. And if I had to...
Cryptid or Letters from Whitechapel?
I'm not a fan of Letters from Whitechapel. I've often bragged on it. It has grown on me. And I think, and this is the thing, Letters from Whitechapel is a game I enjoy because I play it with you. That is the only reason I enjoy that game. The reason I enjoy Letters from Whitechapel is because when we play it, Gobby puts on Sherlock Holmes music and he gets excited and he likes being the cops and he likes organizing people to chase down Jack and he likes trying to track down, and it is truly one of those games with the right group. Letters from Whitechapel is a lot of fun. Mechanically, I don't like it. I would rather play Cryptid. I think if I had to put out just a blanket thing of you should buy this game, I would say Cryptid.
Cryptid is more mathematical.
And which that's what I like the whole triangle. You're basically triangulating a position on a map, which is what I did for years in Search and Rescue. I love it.
You can definitely find it more easily in Cryptid to me.
Yes, I love it. I love Cryptid.
I love Cryptid as well.
Buy it.
OG. Osprey games, whatever you put out, we're in. Until you mess us over.
I've been in. The only thing I don't like about it is that they deviated from their box. OG games always have the box that opens like a book, kind of, with this weird little flap thing. They didn't do this in this game. I don't know why.
What they do?
They didn't. It's just a regular box.
Oh, it's a box.
It's a regular box.
I did not realize that.
I realized that right off the bat. I don't know why they did on this one. You broke the deal. What's going on?
I do like the box effect, but they didn't do that.
But it is nice artwork.
It's a good box.
They do nice artwork, and they do quality stuff. Thank you, OG, for putting out another good game and a game that in my book has not gotten the. I've not seen a lot of people playing it on Facebook.
It was out there for a little bit,
but it needs to be. Tell a friend.
It's good. It's good fun.
Cryptid. It's good fun.
Our final game of discussion.
What's that? I don't want to talk about Zolkin.
A Game of Thrones.
Oh, no. No,
not the big game.
We're talking about a Game of Thrones Hand of the King.
Hand of the King.
Now, I have this
little card game.
I have this thing of buying
a pure card game.
Cheap little games because I'm always looking. I like the idea of somebody taking a theme, one mechanic, and a simple setup and making a decent game. The Hand of the King is 35 cards, which are 36 cards that are spread out in a 6x6 grid. And
6x6 is 36.
There you go. Thank you, sir. All you're doing in that is taking, if you're familiar with the Game of Thrones show, Varys, the guy who's the counselor, a small council guy, you're using his card to either go up, down, left, or right, and picking up various houses, various cards that are various houses, members of these houses, and adding them to your hand. It's a set collection game. It plays very similar to you're just moving cards around. And the reason I bring it up, one, I'll be right out, I didn't like the game that much. Like, if I never play it again, I'll be fine. It's very much a filler game. very light on the theme of Game of Thrones. It just had the people's pictures on it.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's not great. You're trying to gain set collection of so many houses, and so you have that house support, and whoever has the most support wins. I will say this. A game that came out here a few weeks ago, and one of the reasons why I want to talk about this, that Sunset Over the Waters, remember that? Mm-hmm. It had a very similar mechanism of just moving around a grid of cards.
Right.
That game got a lot of attention for some reason. I don't understand why it was not mechanically that sound to me.
They're the same.
They're the same.
Now that you mention it.
And I think that that's interesting that one game can be mechanically the same game with different theme, a little bit different art, tack on a little few other things, and people are going, oh, yeah, you see it on Instagram, you see it on Facebook, people playing it. But another game that's essentially the same that has been out for a while.
I haven't seen anybody play Hand of the King.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I found it on Amazon.
Well, that's shocking because I literally have not heard of Hand of the King.
Well, there's like 50 different Game of Thrones games out there that are just tacked on. I mean, if you get to looking for it. And I came across it because I was trying to find... I was looking for the upcoming expansion for the Game of Thrones, the board game 2nd edition that has been rumored to be out, and I was seeing if it was on Amazon, and I came across this little cheap card game that I thought, well, I'll give it a try. It's no in my book. The theme is barely there. They're taking advantage of the Game of Thrones IP, and it's just not that fun. But it is funner than Sunset Over the Water.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and you won it. You thought it was nice. It was decent.
Yeah.
But I have no want to play it again.
No.
So just FYI, upcoming episodes. We got Enrique's top games coming up. We're having another episode of our Star Wars RPG that we need to put out.
Yeah.
And we also, I don't know what order we're going to put them out at. That might be next.
We played Sulkin.
We want to talk about that, and we want to go over some of the older games that we've played here that we haven't talked about in a while. And plus, we're gearing up for
Simone Luciani. He's the guy.
Plus, we're gearing up for Coimbra.
Yes, I ordered Coimbra.
We're going to play
Coimbra.
Coimbra. I'm sorry.
I really don't know how it's pronounced.
Who knows?
One of the two.
It doesn't matter. What matters
it'll be here this week.
Is that we're going to play it, and we're going to like it.
We're going to put this one out first, then Enrique's top 5 games of all time. Prepare to have your mind blown.
Mind blown.
Me and Jerry, we thought we knew Enrique.
We don't know. Who is he?
The game he picked for his number 1 was...
I would have never have guessed. No. It is a hard game. Not a hard game, but it is a heavier game. That I have never have thought that he would have ever have put, but he did.
Because has he won it?
He won it or got close to it, enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't know.
Once.
Anyways, follow us on Instagram, Board Game Guild, all that stuff. We love you. Thank you for listening.
Rate us, review us.
Remember that we're not reviewers. We're just discussioners.
We discuss.
And you discussed us. Have a nice day.
Bye.